and gentlemen, if you were to ask me about the outcome of today's protest, I will tell you that indeed it was successful to some extent. It is satisfactory to the organizers and to the strategists of those protests. Ask me why, and I will tell you that I have observed two most important achievements of this protest. Because in everything that you want to do, there must be a reason and the end result. So, what was the aim of the organizers of this protest? I will tell you that the aim of this protest was to, number one, paralyze the government operation and to bring the business to standstill in major cities. And at the end of the day, it will affect the revenue collection and hence negative economic growth. And they did it perfectly in Nairobi. In Nairobi, it was successful. It might have failed in some parts of this country. Maybe in cities like Kisumu, Mombasa, Eldoret, Nakuru, but in Nairobi, it achieved its intended purpose, to bring the city and the business to standstill. There were expectations that the business community were going to organize some goons to face head-on with the protesters. But the story was a bit different. At the moment, it is very difficult to say or to talk about the casualties, the deaths on this demonstration. The figures and the statistics are not out. So I will not go there. But I will say that the businesses were not opened. People did not report to their workplaces, which means there was no income generation today. There was negative income. The central business district became the theater of war, running battle between the police and protesters. Media houses covered the whole scenario. Social media were reporting bit by bit as it happened. The international media houses were in Kenya. The eye of the whole world were looking here. Just as I told you yesterday that the ambassadors and the high commissioners of 12 countries gave their statement yesterday, urging the police and the investigative authority to do a swift, independent investigation to various atrocities that were committed in last year's protest. Today, police were a bit vigilant. Police were a bit cautious on how to use the weapons and the guns, and how to control the outnumbering individuals who are coming to the street. And of course, there was some kind of misbehavior that were reported, but the police tried. But the most successful part of it was to bring Nairobi city, which is the capital and to the business hub of this country, and not only this country and part of East Africa, to standstill. Number two, to send shockwaves to the government, to terrify the government, to make the government panic. And indeed, the government panicked not only today, but yesterday. If you saw the amount of force that the government employed into curbing violence and to control the outcome of this, the spread, in other words, the spread of this demonstration or protest, it will tell you that indeed the government had expected the worst. Look at the State House. Around the State House, you see the electric wires, the barbed fences. Look at major streets. Look at how the police apply the security around the restricted and protected areas. Then it will tell you that indeed the police were more prepared because the government had panicked on this. The government had panicked because last year they took it as a joke. They never took it serious, and at the end of the day, they got the embarrassment of their life, which had some casualty within the executive and also in parliament arms of the government. Ministers went home. The reshuffle were done within the security system because it happened to expose some of the loopholes that were in that administration. But you must agree with me that this time around, William Ruto was a bit prepared, even though he was so terrified, but he was a bit prepared. You remember in 2024, he had not made significant changes within the security system to install his allies and purge different departments with individuals who will favor him and give him enough information. The National Intelligence Service were on the watch. Another reason why the government had anticipated worse than we've seen is the decision to order Communication Authority of Kenya to issue orders to all major media houses or the mass media to stop live coverage of the protest and demonstrations that was going on. That shows you that the government did not want the international community to see what was going on in Kenya. But that one could not stop the people and the world to know what was going on in Kenya, because there are many avenues and sources of information, more so to an issue with a lot of interest like this. Everyone would want to follow because it's an issue of interest. The BBC were on the ground, the CNN were on the ground, the Al Jazeera were on the ground. The first information about what was going on, they had it. International media was here. And that could not stop the spread of this information. Whether it will portray a big bad picture about Kenya, they don't care. They will report whatever they want. Remember the last year's GenZs demonstration, the government was caught unaware, and whatever the BBC documented could not augur well, and the government could not take much of that documentary, and they ordered it out of air as soon as it was released to the people and to the public. I want also to give caution at some point, because if this will be the trend that every year on 25th, businesses will be shut down, people will not report to their workplaces, then we are setting a very bad culture and habit. The tradition of every year, 25th June, being a protest day will give Kenya a bad image. Already we've lost. But you know what? People think that this war is about the citizens against William Ruto. No, it is us against us. William Ruto will sleep. William Ruto will invest outside Kenya. Whether you want him out of the office or not, his life will not stop because of these demonstrations. But whoever will lose much is us. Our lives, our properties, our time, and our identity as a people. We are going to give ourselves bad image because Kenya, among East African community countries, is the only country where the theater of all demonstration and violence is manufactured. So I want to ask Kenyans that as much as we are doing well to put the government on check, because it is said that this is the only language the government can hear, we must also look upon ourselves, look into our lives, look into the effect of this protest on our side. How does it affect our lives? How will it affect the life of our brothers and our sisters? The police officers who are in the street, some of them our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, and our fathers, or your friend. But anytime we stage a war against them, we put our lives in danger and their lives also in danger. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we can say at the moment, and may God bless you. Thank you.